Alright, guys. Well, if you guys are coming from listening to my NHL time, talking about NBA now, we're going to talk about the finals. Dallas Mavericks, NBA Finals champions. Miami Heat, Big Three. Came up a little short. And I'm going to start, first of all, congratulating the Mavericks. Great job. It's good for that organization to get their first ring. It's great for Dirk Nowitzki and Jason Kidd and Jason Terry, and I'll tell you why. First of all, I'm going to start with Kidd. Jason Kidd, been in the league 17 years, or 18 years, I'm sorry. 37 years old. He still wants to play for 2 more seasons, which is incredible to me. I mean, he's been there before with New Jersey, took them to 2 NBA Finals. He couldn't pull it out. Arguably, next to John Stockton, maybe the best playmaker the NBA has ever seen as far as a passing point guard. I mean, just a natural, all-round, great passer, good spot-up shooter, and one of the best point guards, obviously. First ballot Hall of Famer, no doubt in my mind. I don't think any doubt in any sports writer's mind. Kid, first ballot Hall of Famer, and that ring just caps off his Hall of Fame career. So good for him. He hopes to continue playing 3 more years. I don't know if anyone saw the interview after the game, which is incredible. I mean, if he plays till he's 40, good for Jason Kidd. But that's definitely capping off one of the NBA's best point guards they've ever seen. And so congratulations to him. And Jason Terry, the Jet, fueling him. I mean, the best 6-man in the NBA going right now. I think a lot of people thought of Jason Terry as a shooter. Just a pure, give him the ball, let him shoot the 3. Or shoot a mid-range jump shot, and he'll hit it. And I think this playoff, though he showed that he is a shooter, he showed dramatic improvements in other facets of his game. He played great defense on guys like Chalmers and Bibby. I mean, he essentially shut Bibby out of that series in which they brought in Eddie House. And he did a great job on guys like that. Offensively, he made more plays for other guys. He actually became more of a point guard type player. I mean, we know he's a shooting guard off the bench, but occasionally he came up with passes that Jason Terry wouldn't make those plays before. Those are plays that Terry would spot up and shoot, and instead he made the extra pass, which led to an easier basket for Dallas. And I think that facet of his game was just incredible. I mean, he had LeBron covering him defensively for a lot of the series. And after Dirk kind of gave him a kick in the butt, in that press conference, called him out, said he wasn't being clutch, he really came up huge in games 3, 4, and 5. I'm sorry, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I apologize. So good for Jason Terry. I think this caps off his career as one of the best 6-men we've seen in a long time. I know there's not too many guys out there who come off the bench and produce offensive numbers like he does. And defensively, he also played extraordinarily well throughout the playoffs. And then lastly, you got to talk about Dirk Nowitzki. In my mind, Dirk Nowitzki is one of the most underrated players ever in the game of NBA. I will put Dirk Nowitzki in my top 15 players of all time. I know a lot of people aren't going to agree with me. That is okay. Everyone's got their own opinion. But, I mean, when you look at the guy's credentials, I don't know how you can't give it to him, man. I don't know how you can't do that. The man is 7 feet tall. He can rebound with anyone. Anybody in the league, he can rebound with them. Anyone he's mid-matched up against. He plays good defense. He shoots phenomenal. He's 7 feet tall. The guy can hit a 3-pointer. He hits mid-range. He hits the tough fadeaways. He'll take guys to the rack. He'll post up. He's just got so many facets of his game that are so unbelievably good. And I hated it. I hated it when people said, well, Dirk Nowitzki's soft. He can't finish the big games and all this stuff. Well, I think he just proved to everyone. He played with 102 fever, scored, 30-something points, 35 points? I mean, he comes out, Game 6, they're winning, but he's 1 of 12 from the floor, comes back, finishes the game now at 27, still has 24 points. He's the reason Dallas is there. Everyone needs to give Dirk Nowitzki more credit because he is one of the best players the NBA has ever seen. He's by far the best European player we've ever seen, and he is the most unique player we've ever seen as far as being a 7-footer with his skill sets of being a shooter, being able to handle the ball, and also being able to do the things a 7-footer should be able to do, like out rebound people and score in the post. So, so happy for Dirk. So happy for Dallas. Congratulations to Mark Cuban. They're crazy owner, but I mean, he put that team together. So good for the Mavericks. And now, what else is there to talk about other than the losers once you talk about the winners, right? And that's the Miami Heat. It's unfortunate for the Heat. They do this big deal. You know, they get their quote-unquote big three, and they couldn't pull it out. And I think they couldn't pull it out for all the reasons I had stated they weren't an elite team in previous blogs. I think that's the reason they didn't win this series. It's not that they couldn't. They could win this series, but they didn't for a multitude of reasons. But I think one of the main reasons is the role players. Mario Chalmers had great playoffs. He played good defense when he brought the ball up. He helped create plays for D-Wade and LeBron and Bosh. He scored a lot of points for them in games 5 and 6. I think he had like 13 in Game 5 and 15 in Game 6. So the fact that he was producing offensively was very good for them, but defensively, terribly weak player defensively. I mean, Jason Terry murdered him. J.J. Barea scored at will when Chalmers was covering him. So that is something I think that Chalmers needs to learn. He needs to upgrade his defensive abilities. But overall, I think Chalmers is a solid long-term player for the point guard position as the Heat look to grow and add pieces to their big three. I think that Chalmers is a great point guard to work with those three guys. He could maybe not be as good as Rondo is with his big three, but he can be the distributor to those guys. And then the other big reason, you have to have your superstars show up. LeBron James, fourth quarters, terrible. That cannot happen. Scottie Pippen, yes. I'm calling out Scottie Pippen on my little rinky-dink blog. But, dude, you are absolutely crazy for saying that LeBron James is better than Michael Jordan. LeBron James will never, ever, 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 ever be better than Michael Jordan. First of all, he gave up his Jordan card when he decided to join up with D-Wade and Bosh. Second of all, you say that he's a better defensive player than Michael Jordan? That is crap. Michael Jordan is a 6-time first-team defense NBA player. Michael Jordan, 6 rings. LeBron James, 0. Alright, man? Michael Jordan, 5 NBA, right? MVPs, 4 or 5 MVPs. Alright, LeBron's got 2. Okay, he's on his way there. But seriously, LeBron is not Michael Jordan. A superstar is made by the moments in which he needs to put the team on his back and win games. And LeBron has proven he can't do that. I don't know if it's psychological, because it's definitely not a skill set. He's got the skill sets to do it. But I think psychologically, at the end of the game, he just freaks out. Honestly. He did it in Cleveland when he just died against Boston. And then he did it this year at Dallas. He did a beautiful job in Boston this year in fourth quarters. Just shutting people down and scoring all kinds of crazy points in the fourth quarter. You come to Dallas, the NBA Finals, the biggest stage to prove to everyone that you can do it, that you can be the clutch player that everyone says you can't be, and you just fade into the dust, man. Into the dust. I mean, there's this play, I don't know if you guys saw it, but it's towards the end of Game 6. The Heat are still in decent range to make a little comeback, maybe. They swing it. LeBron James starts off with the ball. He swings it to Wade. Wade swings it to Chalmers. And LeBron doesn't move. Guys like LeBron need to start their momentum going towards the basket. They need to get the ball going towards the basket. Take the ball to the hoop. Stop treating it to be a spot-up three-point shooter, LeBron, because that's not your game. You need to develop the fact, you need to understand the fact that you are a take-it-to-the-rim kind of guy. You take the ball to the hole, and you force people to foul you, and get on that free throw line. And make your free throws, bro. Game 6. What was wrong with the Heat? 14 of 33 from the free throw line? It's called a free throw. I understand. It is very hectic. Game 6. You're on the verge of elimination. But it's a free throw. And you guys are professionals. I understand. You're going to be like, oh, well, you don't understand because you're not a professional. You're right. I'm not a professional. But I know damn well that I can make a free throw. Alright? Figure it out. LeBron James will never match up to Michael Jordan. Now, on the other hand, Dwayne Wade, that's a guy that before this big three you could compare to Michael Jordan. You look at how he carried Dallas. He had his wingman. Shaq came along. He won his championship. Did stuff that Michael did in NBA Finals. It's very similar, I should say. Not stuff Michael did, but he looked very similar. Now, I'm going to go on a limb, and I'm going to say something that I think a lot of people might be thinking, but aren't going to say it. Dwayne Wade is better than LeBron James. Plain and simple. That's all I got to say. I mean, you might disagree with me. Skip Bayless might disagree with me. All those analysts on ESPN might agree with me. All those analysts I hope to be one day might disagree with me, but that's my opinion. When you look at it as a fact that your star needs to be your most clutch player. Look at Dirk Nowitzki. Look at Jason Terry. Those are the stars of the Dallas Mavericks. Look at what they did when their backs were against the wall. They came back, they won championships. Look at guys like Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant brought the Lakers that many. Granted, he had Shaq, but then look at, he comes back into the Celtics, wins another ring. I mean, when you look at guys like that, they just put their teams on their back, and when it comes to the crunch time, they do the big things. And LeBron is missing that instinct. He's missing that feed, that hunger to just win games in the fourth quarter. And that's, you saw it. Dwayne Wade had to take over fourth quarters. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Game 6, Dwayne Wade was banged up. That hip was banged up. But Dwayne Wade was taking over fourth quarters, taking over late in the game. The Heat team is Dwayne Wade's team. That's where it needs to start for them. First of all, Dwayne Wade needs to hop in that locker room and say, listen, this was my team when we won, and this is still my team. You guys are a part of my team, okay? Because, honestly, Dwayne Wade's the best player on that team. Sorry, LeBron. I don't have anything against LeBron, personally. I think that some of the things he says are arrogant and foolish. I think he needs to think before he says some things. I think D. Wade is kind of falling into that too. But I think that as a person and as a basketball player, LeBron is a good person and a good basketball player. And I think he just gets too much pressure. I think people expect so much out of LeBron, and they're just not going to get it out of him. They're not going to get Michael Jordan out of LeBron James. You are not going to get Michael Jordan out of anyone except for Michael Jordan. Everyone needs to make their own name, and that's just not LeBron James. I'm sorry. The Heat will win championships. I guarantee this team will take home at least 2 rings. You just got to put pieces around them. You got guys like Chalmers. You got your Wade. You got your LeBron. You got Bosh. You got 3 very, very good players right there, and then you got Chalmers starting your point guard. You need big guys in the draft, obviously, or in free agency. Bring in someone big, and you just need better role players. I think the Eddie House move should have been done way earlier in that series. Eddie House was due. Mike Bibby was playing lousy. It's just, I think the Miami Heat are going to come out stronger next year because they got cocky. That's what happened. They got cocky, and Dallas kind of slapped them in the face and went, hey, we're still here. And unfortunately, that's what happens when you think you won something that you haven't won yet. But yeah, that's just my take on that. I know a lot of you guys are probably going to disagree with me, which is fine. And you know what? If you disagree, send me some feedback. Honestly, I want to hear your arguments. I like to argue with people. Being the sports guy I love to talk about sports, give my view. But I want to hear your guys' view on that. But thanks for tuning in the NBA section. Coming up, I got the AL, NL, my All-Star offers, and my Cy Young and MVP up to this point. Yet again, similar to what I did earlier in the year. So stick around if you guys want to listen about some baseball. All right, thanks for listening to my NBA portion.